Hey there, fantasy football fanatics. Welcome to another episode of Fantasy Focus with the Three Frosted Mugs, a Fiat Entertainment Group production. I'm Rodney here with Chad.
Hello, Steven.
Hello, Chad. And Conway.
What's going on, Steven?
Hey, Conway. And if you are watching this, then you probably need help with your fantasy teams, and you have come to the right place. But before we do that, let's talk
Chris
about
Berman?
Yeah, that was my Chris Berman impression. I'm running out of air at the end.
Right.
But before we get into that, let's congratulate the winner of our Pick 3 Plus,
Yep.
Wolfgang. Wolfgang, you have won an awesome Three Frosted Mugs mug. Congratulations.
Congrats, Wolfgang.
Way to go, Wolfgang.
Way to go, man. And please don't forget to visit www.threefrostedmugs.com to enter your picks for the Pick 3 Plus for your chance to win a weekly prize and to compete for the grand prize at the end of the season. And remember, it's 3 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, 3 offensive teams, the top scoring game of the week, and a tiebreaker score of the week, which would be the last game of the week, I believe. Congratulations to Conway on being the highest scoring mug in the competition.
Yeah.
Way to go, Conway. Although you will never win anything.
That's true.
We are not allowed to win things. So
Exactly.
it's okay. All right. So let's get right into it, guys. Let's talk about some fantasy football.
Let's do it.
What happened last week? Any big surprises in fantasy?
Jamal Charles basically laying an egg.
Doing nothing.
I mean, that's kind of disappointing.
A little disappointing. We're very high in a lot of leagues, I'm sure.
I think we saw a lot, even though, I mean, we're going to talk about this guy a little later, but Cordarrelle Patterson didn't do much in the passing game, but you saw...
Rushed for, 100 yards?
Yeah, 100 yards on 3 or 4 carries.
Yeah.
So you just see how explosive he is. That kind of stood out in my mind.
That's like having that running quarterback. When you have that option, you always like to pick that dude up.
Kind
that
of like
popular?
a Percy Harvin type player where you can put him in the backfield. You don't know what to do. So
Right. Well, I can tell. And how'd you do in your fantasy team?
I'm in 2 leagues with 1-1. Maris Thomas laid an egg for me in
Which
one
we'll
league,
get to
so
as
I
well,
didn't lose
yeah.
by much. So
Yeah, I sat Le'Veon Bell in place of Jordan Cameron.
why didn't you
Left
listen,
30
listen to the show?
And I was
here?
there when the decision was made. I kind of backed it. I don't know why.
I was
You
not.
backed it too? Oh,
It was a
gosh.
risk. It was a risk, I'll admit. But
I know this show called Fantasy Focus. You guys should listen to.
Honestly, I went on thinking they might hold him out at the. You know how those guys will hold him out the first half because they got into a little bit of trouble, and
Yeah.
you don't know it until 5 minutes before the game starts.
Mike Tomlin's under the gun. He's not sitting anybody.
That
on the
is true.
bench.
honestly, my whole thinking of it was that who else do they have to throw to in Cleveland? But then I thought, who's throwing to him in Cleveland? You know what I mean?
They were impressive. We'll talk about them,
Yeah.
in our regular show. But
All right. Well, let's get right into the top performers from last week. How about it?
You want quarterbacks? You want to start? You want me to do the quarterbacks?
Are we talking about last week or
Yeah.
this week?
Talking about last week.
Last week's top performer.
Top
Top
performers.
quarterbacks, Matt Ryan. I mean, he went off, had a phenomenal game. Matt Stafford. I mean, you got Calvin Johnson. You're just set up no matter. I mean, that guy's a freak. And Andrew Luck were the top 3 performing quarterbacks. Running backs.
Who's the running backs, Rodney?
We have, I have pains me to say Le'Veon Bell.
Did you start him?
I did not start him. I
okay.
left 30 points on the bench, which would have made a difference, actually.
Okay.
Le'Veon Bell, Marshawn Lynch, and Matthew Forte.
Matthew Forte.
Mr. Matthew Forte.
Yep.
Of course, wide receiver top performers, Calvin Johnson, A.J. Green, and surprisingly, Alan Hearns from Jacksonville. Where in the heck did he come from?
I mean, he had a good preseason, but who would have thought it would have, you're just kind of thinking, okay, it's preseason, they're working him out. But
Definitely.
And they spread it around a little bit, too, because Marquise Lee did not actually have a poor outing his first week. But, Hearns was taking a lot of actually all of the touchdown passes.
How many? We need to see how many times Lee was targeted. I'd like to know that.
We'll have to check that out.
I think it was a good number, actually. He scored 12 points in my league. I know that. Julius Thomas, top tight ends. Julius Thomas, Greg Olson, and Martellus Bennett.
Yep.
Martellus had a heck of a week.
And Julius Thomas I think he may have been a top 3 or 4 scorer just total.
It's him.
It's hard to not play Jimmy Graham. It's hard to not play Rob Gronkowski. But if you don't have those 2 guys and you have Julius Thomas,
Julius Thomas might end up with more points than Gronk this
it's
year.
very possible. Very, very possible. All right, well, let's talk about the disappointing starting performances from the previous week. Let's start with quarterbacks. Chad, this is warm to your heart.
Guy that I've just been saying, do not start the whole time.
Good friend of yours, I imagine, right?
Yeah, me, we're pretty tight. Me and his brother are definitely tight. Eli Manning laid an egg.
Eli.
Terrible.
Eli.
Tony Romo, lot was expected.
Disappointing.
Especially with the banged up 49ers defense. He didn't look good.
3 interceptions.
And we'll stay in the NFC East. Robert Griffin did not have a good outing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably the 3 disappointing quarterbacks and running backs. It was a tough matchup for him, but Eddie Lacy ended up getting hurt as well. Jamal Charles, I don't know why he had as few touches as he did. I mean, I guarantee that won't happen this week.
Were they just taken
Andy
by...
Reid gets pass happy.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask. So they're pass happy then. Okay.
And Steven Jackson with a poor performance as well.
That's surprising with Bo out that they'd be so pass happy, to be honest. Not that Bo was a huge factor last season, but...
Maybe Andy Reid just outthought himself. And
it was like they're expecting us to run, kind of.
Exactly. Wide receivers, disappointing. Larry Fitzgerald, I think he had 1 catch, and it was like on the last drive.
That wasn't disappointing for me, but
this is disappointing for me. Demaryius Thomas did not have a good game.
He had 8 points in my league, I believe.
Was it?
Something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. And Michael Crabtree did not have a good game as well. I mean, I'm surprised because Dallas' secondary is horrendous, so I'm surprised he didn't get off. Tight ends, disappointing. Jimmy Graham, not what we expect out of Jimmy Graham, and I'm sure not what's going to happen moving forward. Jordan Cameron got hurt, but he wasn't doing much before that. And Jason Witten.
Yeah, Jason Witten, you got to put up there.
Yeah, I mean, you figure Tony Romo coming back, and this is still kind of like Romo's preseason, so you'd almost think, where's he going to go? His comfort zone.
But I said Witten is not going to be Witten this year.
I
just
agree.
Not.
Losing a step, getting a little long in the tooth.
And just to go in a little bit more, Jimmy Graham, from the aspect of a normal tight end player, was not disappointing in that aspect, but disappointing that it's Jimmy Graham, and he's only scoring you. I think in my league it was 16 points, maybe. But for Jimmy Graham, who's a top tight end like that is very disappointing. But then you've got Jason Witten, who I think scored under double digits, like maybe 6 points, something like that. I mean, it was pretty disappointing.
Very few.
Maybe even 3. It might have been 3 points.
It wasn't much.
All right. Well, let's move forward. Looking forward to the week to come. Let's see here. We have Chad. Let's start with you. Why don't you give me your top picks for this coming week from each position? We'll start with QBs. We'll go Chad, then Conway, and then we'll go from there.
All right. My top QB.
Before we say this, we're leaving off the normals. You know, the Peyton Mannings, the Aaron Rodgers, the
Drew Brees.
Your top
the Drew Brees.
4 or 5 quarterbacks.
You're going to play them
position.
every week. Yeah, it's no. These are the guys that.
These are gonna be like your
if
5,
you weren't
6,
lucky
7
enough
guys.
to have those, these are the guys you want to start.
Exactly. I'm gonna go with Nick Foles as one of my top performers. I mean, they're playing a night game. They're playing Sunday night. No, they're playing Monday night. They're playing the Colts. It's indoor. I kind of like them to Chip Kelly to kind of show his stuff off, his offense. So I like Nick Foles. Like Andy Dalton. I mean, he had a good game. They didn't score. I don't think he had a touchdown, but I think A.J. Green had a really good game. Falcons defense let up a lot of points last week. So I like for them at home to bounce back. I like Andy Dalton to have a good game. And I also like Jay Cutler. There was a lot of opportunity. Although Tony Romo threw 3 interceptions, he didn't have a good game. There was opportunity there. He missed a lot of reads. I don't think Jay Cutler is going to do that. I think they're going to score.
You don't think Jay Cutler's going to throw in the double and triple coverage?
Well, I do, but I don't think he's going to miss. I think he's probably a little more, I guess you could say, not as rusty as Tony Romo. And I think that if looking back at it, there was a lot of easy reads that Romo should have made. And I just
Dwayne Harris on the goal
you're
line.
right. Jay Cutler will gunsling it into double, triple cover. So there's my top 3, and they were Nick Foles, Andy Dalton, and Jay Cutler.
Okay. Give me your 2 sleepers.
All right, 2 sleepers. Now, this guy's not usually a sleeper, but I'm going to put him on there since he's still kind of rusty. Exactly. Yeah. Tony Romo going at the Titans. Everybody, because the way the Titans played last week, everybody loves the Titans this week. I think that Dallas defense didn't play that bad considering where the turnovers put them.
You betting guys, jump on Dallas.
Plus 3.5. Love it. So like Tony Romo at Tennessee, and then... I mean, once he settled in and got over the fact that he was actually a starting quarterback, like Brian Hoyer, and although Matt Ryan's a little bit different than Brian Hoyer, that Saints defense gave up a lot of points. So I like Brian Hoyer at home to have a solid game.
I mean, Brian Hoyer has impressed me every single start that he's played.
He looked good before he got injured.
Yeah, he didn't. Really he looked kind of rusty in the preseason, but think about what that boy's going through.
Exactly.
He got the job last year. He performed. got injured, then come back. They draft Manziel, still wins the job. You know, and like you said, he came into his own in the second half. You know,
I think something was said to him maybe in second quarter, halftime, to like, hey, we're not pulling you. Go out there and play football. Something to that order, and he went out and played football. So I look for that to carry over into week 2. Like
maybe they'll trade him to the Cowboys.
I just want to say real quick, do you remember the confidence that Brian Hoyer gave us in the Browns last season? I think we picked him in a death pool to go against the Vikings, and that's when he went out.
That's
and hurt
when he
his
got
knee.
hurt, yeah.
That's exactly when hurt, and everything looks so beautiful.
Yep.
So
That's
beautiful.
the Reed look.
Gosh.
Did Brandon Whedon come in there, or was it Jason Campbell?
Jason
that came
Campbell,
in?
I
Campbell
think.
came in.
I
Yeah.
think Whedon was still hurt.
God, I mean, it was.
'Cause
Anyway.
Didn't Whedon come back and then they didn't play him or something? Am I right, or was he out? the whole
I
season?
It's
can't
Cleveland.
remember.
I stopped paying
Yeah.
attention.
I can't remember the
You know,
daytime
Taz, who
drama that
cares
is
about
Brandon
that?
Whedon.
Exactly.
Okay, so Conway, give me your top quarterback picks for the upcoming week and your
All right.
sleepers.
Well, my number one quarterback every week is going to be whoever's playing Dallas. So Jake Locker, number one.
Okay.
Put him in your lineup. He'll have at least 2 touchdowns, maybe 4. Carson Palmer against the Giants,
Love it.
and Cam Newton against Detroit.
Okay.
I'd see Cam Newton coming back, and I just think Cam has. I'm on the Cam train. so-
Cam.
yeah. My sleepers this week, I like Andy Dalton going against Atlanta, and I like Ryan Fitzpatrick against the Oakland Raiders.
Wow. All right. No respect for
Yeah.
Oakland's defense, huh?
Well, I mean, Fitzpatrick didn't look too bad last week.
Dink and dunk Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
the best thing
DeAndre
about
Hopkins will have the house one again, or Andre Johnson.
the best thing about Fitzpatrick is that awesome beard. That's about it.
That is a great beat.
It is an awesome.
He's got
beard.
that. What's the guy? The defensive guy from Pittsburgh, Kiesel.
Oh yeah, the beard. Yeah.
I think they're cousins.
They got it.
All right, Chad. I'm gonna come back to you. Give me your top running backs for this upcoming week.
Okay, and same, just like quarterbacks, you know, we're not going to go with the LaShawn McCoy, Adrian Peterson, Jamal Charles guys. Alfred Morris,
Okay.
Like it.
like Alfred Morris playing at home against the Jaguars. I think they're going to pound the ball.
Yeah, give RG3 a little play action and
Exactly, especially because of how, you know,
Give him
he
some
had a lot of
relief.
yards on few carries last week. I also like DeMarco Murray. They ran it great last week. I think they're going to continue to do that at Tennessee. And No Sean Moreno. I mean, again, he ran hard. He ran tough. He ran really good. And I look for him to have another good game this
So
week.
Lamar Miller, you think's just out? You think it's all going to be no Sean?
And there's going to be a lot of no Sean. Lamar Miller is a good. He's a good back, good change of pace. But it's I think it's Moreno.
Between
no matter
the two,
who.
you're
I
going
think
with
Moreno has something to prove.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, he ran like that too.
Yeah,
I
he
mean, it
did.
was just
Exactly, I agree with you.
Sleepers.
Sleeper is Chris Johnson. He had a decent week last week, actually pretty good. At the Packers, I hate to say this for the game Geno Smith's quarterbacking, but I think there's going to be some points scored in that game from both sides of the ball. And I also like Terrence West.
Terrence West with the Cleveland Browns, I believe.
Oh, no. Yeah,
Right?
Terrence
Yeah,
West
Terrence
with the Cleveland
West.
Browns, exactly. I think that game, that's going to be a high-scoring game like Terrence West.
Okay. Conway, top running backs.
well. My top running back I have is Marshawn Lynch this week,
Okay.
and I have 2 on the same list as Chad. I got DeMarco Murray and Alfred Morris,
Okay.
and one of my sleepers are Terrence West, and my other sleeper is No Sean Marino.
We had all the same picks,
Yeah.
basically, except for the Marshawn Lynch, which I like him too.
Now, doesn't Marshawn fit into that realm of a must start? Isn't that we just said we weren't going to
Maybe
do
after
that?
week 2 or week 3.
Okay.
Maybe.
I feel like his performance is almost unexplainable because it's like
I
they were
feel-
slipping off of him like he was covered in oil.
I think he reminds me of Earl Campbell runs sometimes. If you look at the old, just so hard, so fast. I've never seen the guy been tackled by one person.
All right. Well, let's keep moving along here.
He's tough.
Chad, top wide receivers and sleepers.
Top wide receivers. I like Michael Floyd
I like Michael Floyd also.
going to play at the Giants. Giants are garbage. I like Cordarrelle Patterson. They're playing at home against the Patriots. Like that game. Also like Vikings to cover. Anyway, and Reggie Wayne. Again, I think he's still, I think
47
it's Andrew
years
Luck.
old.
Important cog in that wheel, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go-to guy. Sleepers. This guy won't be a sleeper for long. Brandon Cooks. Excuse me.
Brandon Cooks
He's a
will
crook.
remain a sleeper,
He
but
will.
Brandon Cooks will not.
Again, there's a theme of that game. Saints Browns. I think there's gonna be a lot of points. Bet the over. And sleepers again. I like T.Y. Hilton. I think there's gonna be a lot of points in that ball game. I think T.Y. Hilton, even over top of Hakeem Nicks, is. I think Andrew Luck's just got a little more comfort level there.
Okay. Conway.
My 3 wide receivers. Number 1, I got Deshaun Jackson going against Jacksonville. I just feel like he's gonna have over 100 yards, at least 1 touchdown.
Okay.
Larry Fitzgerald, bounce back week against the Giants. No better place to bounce back than at the Giants. And Antonio Brown tonight. I like him. And my sleepers is Justin Hunter.
Okay.
And
Against Dallas's doo-doo
Because
secondary.
Justin Hunter's running back for.
Wide receiver.
he's a wide
I'm sorry,
receiver.
wide receiver for Titans, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And Kelvin Benjamin.
You love Kelvin Benjamin.
I do. He had a good
Is
week
Kelvin
one.
still a sleeper? Is he?
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
rookie.
Okay. All right.
That's why I put Brandon Cooks or Crooks.
You
either.
guys are the
Both
take my
professionals.
sleeper
You
away
guys are
from me.
professionals. That's why I bring it up. All right.
We are.
Let's move into tight ends. Chad.
tight ends. Dennis Pitta. Like
Taken
him
in the
tonight.
4th round.
And then Vernon Davis in the 5th. Dwayne Allen. Again, going to be a lot of points.
I picked him up on the waivers.
I like that this week. I like that play. Delaney Walker. Again, anybody going against Dallas' secondary right now, I think they're going to try to use him, get some points out of Delaney
A
Walker.
lot of Tennessee picks here, guys. A lot of Tennessee players.
Notice
Did you
the
see Dallas
receivers and
play?
tight
Yeah.
ends. I mean, Dallas did good against the run, but terrible against the pass.
All right, your sleepers?
My sleepers are Jared Cook.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Cook, St. Louis, and Niles Paul. With Jordan Reed out, I think Niles Paul is going to get a little bit of work. I like that play.
Awesome. Conway.
Well, my number 1 tight end is Vernon Davis.
Taken in the 5th round.
I like Kyle Rudolph this week
Okay.
Shocker.
against New England, and I like Charles Clay against Buffalo.
I hope Charles Clay goes off.
And
like
my
it.
sleepers, I got Niles Paul as well. And
Good luck with this. Because I know you have a hard enough time saying normal words. Go ahead.
and I have Levine, the tight end from Atlanta. I'm not
Say
even
his
going to
last
try
name.
his last
Toy
name.
Lolo.
Toilolo.
I think that's how you say it. Toy Lolo.
Lolo Jones.
Yeah.
Call him Levin Lolo. Levine Lolo. All right. Chad, we're going to go real quick. Give me a top defense and then a sleeper defense.
Top defense, Houston.
Houston.
They're playing against a rookie quarterback. Oakland, terrible running game. They're going to get after him. They're going to score a lot of points. And then sleeper, Dallas.
That's my sleeper as
although
well.
I think we're going to give up, some points in the passing game, I think we're going to get to the quarterback. We're going to stuff the run, and I think we're actually going to create some turnovers.
I think we're going to have a special teams touchdown this week.
I like it. I like these bold
Dwayne
predictions.
Harris, love it.
These are bold. All right, Conway, top and sleeper.
Top defense, Arizona.
I like that pick.
Sir throw interception a lot. I mean, it's kind of easy taking them against the Giants. But and my sleeper is Dallas.
All
Love
right.
it.
Both bold predictions as far as your sleepers are concerned.
Huge.
Yeah.
We did
so-
shut out the 49ers in the second half.
Yeah.
Do you have any final thoughts before we end the show today about Fantasy Focus? Any fantasy bold predictions? Any thoughts that should happen?
No.
Calvin Johnson, Matt Stafford connection, I think, is going to be huge this
Unstoppable.
year. Panthers got a really good defense. They're going to be put to the test this week. But yeah, just real big on Calvin Johnson this year. I mean, of course, I guess that's not too bold.
In week 2, you find out a lot more stuff than you did in week 1.
Yep.
I mean, they knocked the rust off. You usually don't see a whole lot of points scored in week 1 just because, the rust is there and it's a real game and that kind of takes over. So I think in week 2, you're going to find out who your studs and duds are.
And Peyton Manning, I think, this is just what I'm saying, is Peyton Manning, I think, could have thrown 6 touchdown passes. I think they called the dogs off because I did predict the Broncos and Colts to be my AFC Championship matchup. I think they know they're going to see each other later on. I don't think they want it to be that close, but I think they didn't want to show too much. Just what I'm saying.
And
Keep
you
it
can
vanilla.
probably tune into our other show, which is Three Frosted Mugs, and we'll probably talk more about that as well.
Exactly.
Like do a little cross advertising here.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for us on Fantasy Focus. Good luck in all your fantasy leagues this week. If you have any questions about who to start or sit on your fantasy teams, please feel free to post them on our Facebook page, or you can tweet us at 3frostedmugs. And frosted has no vowels in it, so that's FRSTD mugs. And thank you. Tune in next time for Fantasy Focus
Great
with
Twitter
the Three
handle.
Frosted Mugs. Thank you, AJ Studios, for the post-production and graphics work. And until next time, trust your gut and never tinker.